They did it. They actually did it. The Indiana Fever front office and Stephanie White took the most exciting player women's basketball has ever seen and broke her. Not with bad luck, not with tough opponents. They did it from the inside, with bad roster decisions, a system designed for someone else, and a coaching staff that treats Caitlin Clark like a problem to manage instead of a weapon to unleash. And now Clark is done staying quiet. She's dropping hints about her future with the Fever, and none of them sound like someone planning to stick around. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this situation is past the point of no return. Will you support the Indiana Fever if and when Caitlin Clark leaves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Kate as the most watched player in women's sports, full stop. Networks restructured broadcast deals around her. Arenas sold out months in advance. The national conversation about women's basketball ran directly through Indiana, and everyone knew it. CBS, NBC, USA Network. They didn't sign deals for the Indiana Fever. They signed deals for Caitlin Clark. So the Fever had one job going into the offseason. One job: build a roster that actually fits her game. That means spacing the floor, adding shooters who punish defenses for collapsing, and finding a big who can operate in the pick and roll and knock down threes when Clark draws two defenders. It's not complicated. Every team in the NBA has been doing this for a decade. You have a ball-dominant guard who creates for everyone. You build the 5 spots around her strengths, not your own preferences. Instead, the front office went out and signed more guards. Players who need the ball. Players who compete for the exact same reads Clark already owns. When you stack a roster with guards around a guard-driven offense, you don't create options. You create traffic. And traffic kills rhythm faster than anything. Then there's the stretch power forward situation. That position never got filled. The one player type that would have opened the floor, occupied help defenders, and let Clark operate off the dribble the way she does at her absolute best, gone. Not a priority. The front office looked at what Clark needs and went a different direction. Monique Billings came in at 8. White brought her own problems to the meal. White came in with a half-court system, post-entry offense as the primary action, and a switching defensive scheme that puts guards on centers and creates mismatches. Opponents are now hunting every single possession. None of that was designed around Clark's gravity, her pull-up game off the dribble, or her ability to freeze a defense just by walking into ball screens. And then, White said it out loud. She told anyone willing to listen that the team moves faster with Raven Johnson at point guard, not Clark. Johnson. She actually said that, about the best playmaker this league has. That one sentence tells you everything about where this coaching staff's head is. The sabotage and the body language on that bench right now is just what it looks like when a player finally realizes it.
It's over. It's over, guys. Caitlin Clark is mentally checked out. She's done. She's done. She's done with Stephanie White. She's done with Stephanie White. Look at this here. This is a player that is mentally done. Stephanie White, congratulations. You have mentally defeated Caitlin Clark.
Here's the thing about Caitlin Clark's best games this season. When you watch them back, they have one thing in common. She stopped listening. She went rogue. She ignored the play calls, took the ball off Stephanie White's system. Because Clark's good games aren't a product of the coaching. They happen in spite of it. White wants half-court sets. She wants the offense to flow through post entries, getting the ball to a Leah player, stand in the corner, and wait. The most dangerous pull-up shooter in the league. Standing in the corner. Waiting. Clark's game is built on gravity. She walks into a ball screen and 2 defenders have to make a decision, collapse on her or give her the shot. Either way, someone is open. That's how you unlock an offense. You don't run pick and roll actions to get easy baskets every time. You run them because the threat creates advantages all over the floor, and a quarterback who can read and fire makes everyone around her better. White's system takes that threat away and replaces it with static. Nobody's reacting. Nobody's scrambling. The defense just sets up and waits too. The defensive side of the ball is its own disaster. Switching 1 through 5 across the board means your guards are out there guarding centers, and opposing coaches have caught on. Every team the Fever faces hunting those mismatches on purpose now. Post your biggest player at the elbow, drag out a guard, and go to work. It's not a scheme. It's a vulnerability that White refuses to adjust, and it's being exploited systematically. The argument on the Portland sideline wasn't a one-off moment of frustration. Clark had her head down on the bench, checked out, done. Not fired up, not locked in and ready to respond. Done. That's a different look entirely, and anyone who's watched enough basketball knows what it means when a player stops fighting the situation and just goes quiet. The assistant coaches are yanking her in and out before she can build any momentum. The system handcuffs her reads before the play even develops. And reportedly, the sports psychologist the Fever have on staff has been working to convince Clark that all of this is normal, that deferring to the system is part of being a team player, that the process works if she just trusts it. The process doesn't work. The results are right there on the scoreboard, and Clark knows it. That voice in the back of her head that says something is wrong. It's getting louder.
And these three have completely ruined the best show in sports, which was the Caitlin Clark show. Clark show, baby. They ruined it. Indiana Fever were becoming America's team. Must-see television. No question about it. They have ruined it. It's over, guys. Take a look at this. These three have completely destroyed the most exciting basketball team we've ever seen. That's Amber Cox, Kelly Krauskopf, and Stephanie White. They have ruined this thing.
So while Stephanie White was running her experiment on the court, the people above her were busy making everything worse. Start with Amber Cox. The general manager of a professional basketball team went on social media and started blocking Caitlin Clark fans who criticized the organization. Not responding, not engaging, blocking. A GM who can't handle fan criticism of her own roster decisions on a public platform isn't someone operating with confidence. That's someone who knows the criticism is landing because it's right and can't find a factual counterargument, so she just cuts off the conversation instead. Jason Whitlock got blocked. He said so publicly. You've got a nationally recognized media voice calling out your front office, and your response is to make sure you don't have to read what he's saying. That's not leadership. That's someone wilting under pressure they brought on themselves. Kelly Krauskopf sits above all of this as basketball president, which means every roster decision this offseason ran through her. The guards' heavy free agency. The absence of any real floor spacing power forward. The Monique Billings contract. Krauskopf has been around long enough to know what a point guard-driven offense needs around it. This wasn't a team that stumbled into bad construction accidentally. Someone looked at Caitlin Clark and deliberately decided the priority was something else. When a front office has a generational offensive player and responds by building a roster that slows the game down and crowds the ball handling, that's a philosophical decision. It just happens to be the wrong one. Then there's the Raven Johnson situation, which is maybe the clearest window into how this organization actually thinks. You don't draft a point guard in the first round when you already have the best point guard in the league unless one of two things is true. Either you don't actually believe she's the best point guard in the league, or you're already planning for a future where she isn't on your roster. There's no third option. And once you stack that decision next to White, openly saying the team plays faster with Johnson running things, the picture isn't confusing anymore. The Fever drafted Clark's replacement while Clark was still under contract. The coach is already experimenting with that replacement in live games. The GM is on social media fighting with fans instead of fixing the product. CBS, NBC, and USA Network didn't cut those broadcast checks for Raven Johnson. They didn't restructure their coverage for Stephanie White ball. The people who signed those deals were buying the Caitlin Clark show, and right now attendance is sliding and the energy in those buildings is nothing like what it was 12 months ago. The front office inherited the most marketable athlete in women's sports and turned it into a management crisis inside of one offseason. That takes real effort.
You guys have taken the most entertaining person in sports and you have completely ruined the excitement around her. Completely ruined it. And this is where we are. Head down on the bench. Coaches throwing clipboards, crashing out. You got Bree January, another yelling at you. She ain't done nothing in this league as a head coach. Who are you? You ain't done. You're not Caitlin Clark. We got coaches grabbing her up on the court. It's too much going on, man. Caitlin Clark needs to get as far away from this organization as possible.
Clark has spent most of her professional career doing the right thing publicly. She takes blame when games go sideways. She credits her teammates. She deflects drama and stays in her lane. So when she stops doing that, you have to pay attention. Because for her, it's not a default mode. It's a choice. On Aaliyah Boston's podcast, Clark didn't commit to Indiana. She didn't say she loves it there. She didn't talk about building something long-term. She didn't give the front office anything to quote back to the fan base as reassurance. She left the door wide open, and with everything happening around this team, an open door reads as a real threat. Players who are happy and locked in don't leave doors open. They close them.
Till 2029. 2029.
Yeah,
Are
no,
you
that's
with
what
the
I'm
Fever till
saying.
2029?
Hey, I love playing with you.
Yeah, well, I'm only signed till,
Yeah. Don't worry about that.
well, next year.
Don't worry
too.
about that. We'll figure that out.
Unless I sign my Epic.
Then, after the Portland loss, she stood in front of the cameras and pointed at internal issues. Not the refs, not the schedule, not outside noise or opponent quality, or any of the usual deflections that keep things clean and manageable for a PR team. She pointed inward. For someone who has taken the high road every single time it was available, that's not nothing. That's a player who's decided the situation is bad enough that it's worth saying out loud. Watch the moment on the bench after the blow-up with White. When Clark leans over to Aaliyah Boston and they're whispering back and forth. You don't know exactly what was said, but you know the context. You know what just happened. And you know that Clark doesn't strike you as someone who whispers, "Don't worry about it, we'll be fine," after a public argument with her head coach mid-game. That conversation was about something real. Here's the leverage part that matters. The Fever need Clark at a level that doesn't work in reverse. Without her, this team doesn't have a national broadcast deal. Without her, those arenas don't sell out. Without her, the WNBA loses the single biggest driver of growth and attention it's had in 30 years. She doesn't need Indiana. Indiana needs her, and the gap between those two things is enormous. If Stephanie White is still coaching this team when Clark's deal expires, there's no compelling argument for her to re-sign. If Amber Cox is still the GM, still blocking critics on social media instead of building a real roster, there's no argument. If Krauskopf is still sitting in that basketball president chair after overseeing everything we've covered, there is no argument. Clark will walk, and the Fever will be left with Raven Johnson, an empty arena, and a broadcast partner wondering what they paid for. The clock isn't running out on Caitlin Clark. It's running out on everyone above her.
I don't think Caitlin Clark should commit to this franchise. I think Caitlin Clark should be looking to move on. I think Caitlin Clark deserves better. Aaron Kane, do your damn job. Where the fuck are you at? Where are you? Where are you? Are you going to do something, or are you going to sit here and act like you don't see this crap that's going on? Do you not see what's going on right now? Look at what they have done to the biggest star in the sport.
The problem was never the referees. It was never the schedule or the matchups or bad luck. It was always inside that building, and Clark has finally said it out loud. Stephanie White, Amber Cox, and Kelly Krauskopf built a situation so broken that the most important player this league has ever had is leaving doors open that should be nailed shut. The clock is ticking, and Indiana is the one running out of time. Will you support the Indiana Fever if and when Caitlin Clark leaves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss out on all things basketball. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.